Hello and welcome to News Central Television with me, Blessings Mosugu. The top stories of this hour. Reactions as October 1st protests record low turnout nationwide. South Africans renew calls for action to address gun violence crisis. Kenyan lawmakers seek to impeach deputy president. We've got the moment. Let's begin by telling you that the federal government has initiated emergency repairs on the deteriorating 7-kilometer stretch of the Lagos-Shangwater-Abeokuta road. Now, this is a crucial route that has faced significant neglect in recent years. This announcement was made on Wednesday through a statement issued by the Special Advisor Media to the Minister of Works, Uchenna Orji. In the statement, Orji emphasized the government's commitment to addressing the pressing infrastructure issues affecting commuters. According to him, the repair initiative is part of a broader strategy under the Operation Free Our Roads program, aimed at enhancing the condition of federal roadways across the nation. Away from that now, the hashtag Fearless in October protests recorded a low turnout in the Federal Capital Territory and state amid the heavy presence of security operatives. This was as the organizers of the protest, the Take It Back movement, rejected the planned 30-day National Youth Confab announced earlier on Tuesday by President Bola Tinubu. The group described the initiative as a jamboree designed to reward the president's supporters. In his Independence Day address, Tinubu announced plans to convene a youth conference, which he said would be held for 30 days to address and discuss challenges facing the Nigerian youth, who accounted for more than 60% of Nigeria's population. Reacting to the plan, the national coordinator of the Take It Back movement, Juwon Sonyaolu, noted that the president did not organize any confabs before implementing his policies. In a country as diverse and dynamic as Nigeria, protests have become a powerful tool for citizens to express their frustrations, demand accountability, and advocate change. But just how effective are protests in Nigeria, especially 64 years after independence? Nigeria, a nation of over 200 million people and numerous resources, continues to grapple with social, political, and economic challenges. News Central's Bettina Nweli reports.
He came with renewed hope mantra, but he has forgotten. He's giving us shaggy.
From the protest against the military rule in the 1990s to the hashtag Occupy Nigeria movement in 2012 and the global sensation of the hashtag EndSARS protest in 2020, among others, Nigeria has a rich history of civil resistance. Each protest has had varying degrees of success in achieving its objectives. The power of collective action in Nigeria can be traced back to the colonial era. Protests, strikes, and boycotts played pivotal roles in the struggle for independence in 1960.
Most people are hungry, most of the citizens. And even like as a businessman, the customers are not turning up. Like things have went downhill. As in, I'm short of words to explain.
They are there to serve us, but now they believe that we are people that are serving them, and it's not proper. That's what I want to say. Thank you.
In 2012, Nigeria experienced one of its largest nationwide protests, the hashtag Occupy Nigeria movement. Triggered by the government's removal of fuel subsidies, the protest brought the country to a standstill, uniting Nigerians across ethnic and religious divides in their opposition to economic hardship. 64 years after independence, the removal of subsidies seems to have plunged the nation deep in hunger. For many, the promise of a better tomorrow feels distant. Inflation rises while wages remain stagnant. The basic necessities such as food, fuel, and housing have become luxuries for the average Nigerian. Fuel scarcity persists despite Nigeria's wealth in oil. Families are forced to make hard decisions of survival over comfort and hope over despair.
What we have seen over the past 64 years is the increasing worsening of our lot as working people. We have seen a situation in which poverty rate has continued to increase. We have seen a situation in which access to basic services has continued to reduce. such that education is almost totally inaccessible for the child of the common man today, such that food is almost inaccessible for the bulk of Nigerian people today. We have too many of our people sleeping on the streets who are homeless today. That is the situation we are in today.
Nigerians are hungry and suffering. Formerly, we used to buy 1 derrick of beans for 500. Now it's 2,000 naira for Loyin. The white one is 1,005. One pieces of fish before, it was 300, 500. Now it's 4,000 naira.
This is the first time in my life at age 56 that I'm seeing an Independence Day being celebrated with mass protest. Nigerians are not happy. And so the government are celebrating their jamboree. We are protesting against them.
Today is a symbolic day for Nigerians to say we reject their own independence and we want our own independence from internal colonizers. So if they don't listen, why are they doing everything there? Why do you have police today if they are not listening, if they are not afraid? Yeah.
I'm happy for the country. I'm happy for myself. 64 years is no joke. For we coming together and this standing together and this strong and this protest as a nation is something to celebrate, not something to protest about. Thank you.
Protests, but peacefully organized as this, will continue to be a critical aspect of Nigeria's evolving democracy. As the nation faces ongoing challenges such as economic disparity, corruption, and insecurity, citizens will likely keep raising their voices. As Nigeria turns 64 as an independent nation, the role of activism cannot be overemphasized. In Lagos, for News Central, I am Bettina Nwili.
Meanwhile, the coalition of civil society organizations in Edo State on Tuesday joined their counterparts nationwide for the October 1st protest. Their demands, among others, include the restoration of fuel subsidy, improvement of security, and revert to bicameral legislature, among others, by the Bola Tinubu administration. Now, the group, which includes the African Network for Environment and Economic Justice, Talakawa Republic, Take It Back Movement, and Faculty of Peace Organization, marched to the Nigerian Union of Journalists, Edo State Secretariat, before moving to other areas like Ring Road, Mission Road, Forestry, Sogbona, airports, including some major market areas in the state capital.
We are here on the street to send a very strong message to the president that the economy is badly run and that earlier that the government addressed the issue of crisis of the economy, the better for us.
Nigeria at 64, we are still crawling as a nation. From Genesis to Revelation, Nigeria is a bad specimen of democracy, simply because of the kind of people we elected to pilot the affairs of this country. As it is today, the masses cannot buy a liter of fuel. The rate of insecurity in our land is very high. Despite the fact that Section 14 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria states that the security and the welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government. You can see the masses have assembled vertically and horizontally to call for the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the six governors to please Nigeria.
The economic attrition in this country right now is unbearable. We are saying we cannot take it anymore. And this is, it's not like maybe it's a rocket science that there is no solution to this problem. There is solution. The political leaders, they are just adamant because of their own selfish interest. There is no money, there's no money. We all see the money that was flying around on election day in Benin City. But what we are saying that if they refuse to change, you see that the result that they are calling for. One day they will see them.
Now, as Nigeria marks its 64th independence anniversary, the nation's role in global affairs remains a central topic of discussion. Despite grappling with significant economic and security challenges, Nigeria continues to assert itself as a major player on both the regional and international stages. Nigeria plays a pivotal role in regional organizations such as the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, and the African Union, actively contributing to peacekeeping missions and regional security initiatives, highlighting its dedication to stabilizing across the continent. Now, additionally, Nigeria has bolstered its global partnerships with key nations, including China, the United States, and members of the European Union. These relationships have spurred significant investment in sectors like infrastructure, energy, and agriculture. As the country celebrates 64 years of independence, it remains essential to reflect on Nigeria's standing in global affairs and the opportunities that lie ahead for its continued growth and influence. You're still live with us on the news. We go on a short break now, and when we come back, reactions trail court order on the release of the voters' register for ahead Rivers State local government polls. We'll tell you more after the break. Many thanks for staying with us. Now let's quickly discuss politics. Rivers State Governor Simialayi Fubara earlier this week assured that the local government election in the state will proceed as planned on the 5th of October 2024. He made this assurance during an inspection of an ongoing road project in the state. The governor also paid an unscheduled visit to the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission, where he was received by officials led by the chairman, retired Justice Adolphus Enebeli. During their discussions, Enebeli assured Fubara that the Electoral Commission is prepared to conduct the election. Earlier on, Rivers State Ethnic Youth Leaders Coalition, Lebosi Yamabana, joined us on the news to discuss this.
The court pronouncement, the voter register has already been released to RISEC. So the governor is only concerned about democracy. Remember, there is a Supreme Court ruling that has mandated local, what do you call it, autonomy of the local governments. And consequence to that, the presidency had a political solution that within 3 months, which allows sometime in, I think, this month, October, from thence, all states should conduct local government elections. And states across the nation have been conducting local government elections. Why would the case of Rivers State be different? And you see, because the governor is a Democrat, he set in machinery in place and empowered RISEC to go ahead and conduct this election. But to our greatest chagrin, those that were up initially calling for the conduct of the elections, we are not the ones going to courts to see how they could stop the election from being conducted, all in the name of fighting a governor that is very peaceful, that wants the right thing to be done in this nation. So we do not know where those sort of characters are coming from.
Back to the Independence Day celebration now. Young Nigerians beaming with optimism about the country's future say they are convinced that with patience and hope, Nigeria will soar to greater height. This was as they trooped to the streets of Abuja, the federal capital, in commemoration of Nigeria's 64th independence anniversary celebration. News Central's Joshua Imarai reports.
These are young Nigerians in the spirit of celebration. Some of them earlier took to the streets of Abuja in commemoration of Nigeria's 64th independence anniversary. They say that despite the fact that the situation of the country have deteriorated, they are optimistic about the country's future.
Be it as it may, what is worth doing is worth doing well. We must celebrate, whether we like it or not. We must celebrate as far as there's happiness, as far as it is a day set aside for celebration. As a Nigerian, a patriotic Nigeria, I should celebrate, even as the situation of the country is not favoring most of us.
Even though the country is, we are not smiling, but we just have to keep on moving. Understand? Where you find no joy, try to compose yourself. No matter what the situation is that is happening, it shows that you still have hope.
I did not even leave my house to come here, so they pay me, so I have to come and play and collect my money. And this morning I have to use it. So we have to hustle. Anyhow, we have to hustle.
Others called on Nigerians to give the government more time, saying that they are confident that the situation of the country will improve.
We are aware of the fact that this current administration is just a year and a few months into its administration. And despite the fact that we are currently going through some economic reforms, which has presented some form of hardship for youths and for the constituents of the country, we understand the fact that there is a Yoruba proverb that says, Taban Sukun Amarino. Therefore, we need to appreciate what the government has also done while we engage them in active dialogue to get what is yet to be done.
As Nigeria's dawn 64, the glimmer of hope remains constant as citizens say there are better days ahead. In Abuja for News Central, I am Joshua Imarai.
Now, the National Association of Nigerian Students has called on the federal government to improve the learning environment for Nigerian students as the nation marks its 64th independence anniversary. The leadership of the union made this known in Abuja during a pro-government Independence Day rally at the Maitama area of the Federal Capital Territory. News Central's Emmanuel Bagudu reports.
Anti-government protesters been dispersed with tear gas canisters at the Utako area of the Federal Capital.
Don't move, comrades, don't move!
However, in a different twist of events, pro-government protesters were protected by heavily armed security personnel. On one side is Nigeria's apex student union body, the National Association of Nigerian Students, while on the other hand are some members of the National Youth Council of Nigeria, all pledging support for Nigeria's president, Bola Tinubu.
Sending message to the government that while commending them for the CNG buses, we want to tell the government of the day that the students and the youth are very important in our society. In every decision, at every level, they should be carried along. In employment, too, the youth should be carried along. And most importantly, palliative youth should be carried along. The youth are very important. We decided to be positive and be patriotic.
Are we looking at the cup as half full or half empty? The president came, made these reforms, and also put in place programs. So today, as we celebrate independence, we are calling on all the youth of Nigeria to key into these programs for the economic emancipation, independence, forward voyage of our country, Nigeria.
Some of the students present at the rally expressed their wishes for Nigeria in the light of the Independence Day celebration.
A happy independence to every Nigerian out there, both at home and in diaspora. We should keep the hope alive. We are driving change, and I'm very sure Nigeria will be better.
To every Nigerian out there, we have a role to play to nation building. We have a role to play to a digital economy. We have a role to play in transforming the economy of Nigeria into a better one. Cheers to Nigeria.
And I'm here to encourage each youth of Nigeria to stand strong. As we stand strong, we are united, we stand strong.
I'm happy I came to celebrate Nigeria at 64, and I'm very happy and I enjoyed the harmony and everything. Thank you.
Despite the impression of a tension-filled day with the hashtag Fearless October, the atmosphere in the Federal Capital Territory remained calm as security agencies continued their patrol and manned several key points within the city center. In Abuja for News Central, I am Emmanuel Bagudu.
Residents of Jos, the Plateau State capital, have lent their voices, among others, asking for a better country while commemorating the 64th independence anniversary of Nigeria. Now, while some are of the view that nothing is worth celebrating, others believe there is every reason to mark the achievement of the country's 64 years after colonial rule. News Central's Chizoba Anyowe has more.
64 years after Nigeria's independence, many citizens feel a lot should have been achieved. Sadly, they feel citizens have been shortchanged by Nigerian leaders. Residents of Jos are calm, going about their lawful businesses, while some others are away from work to observe the public holiday. Some advocates of good governance had set aside October 1 to protest the ills in the country, but such did not happen in Plateau State, probably because of the fragile peace in recent time. Some residents spoke to News Central about their thoughts on Nigeria's Independence Day 64 years after, noting the economic hardship experienced by many.
How much is petrol today, for example? I had to follow Keke, left my car. I had a function here, but I had to leave my car at home because I cannot afford to buy 1 gallon of fuel to put in my car. So really, there's really nothing to celebrate about, if you ask me.
Where the bank of trust is no longer there, you discover that for growth to happen, it wouldn't just take place. So that's just what's happening to Nigeria. There's a disconnect between the leaders and the followers.
Our leaders have taken us, Nigerians, for granted too much. Nothing is working. What are we even celebrating? 64 years of independence, we have nothing to show than to just thank God that we are alive.
They feel that public office holders have a lot to do for a better Nigeria.
It is for the government to be assertive in its tackling of the problems in the land, primarily the insecurity in the land, and then to take deliberate policy decisions that will address the challenges that we are having with the economy.
Our leaders will have to be sincere, being deliberate, and they have to take decisive decision on how to make this country go forward. Just like where you hear any younger person will say the American dream. What is the Nigerian dream?
The way out is the youth to take the bull by the horn and come out in 2027 and vote massively for anybody that we think that can bring us out of this mess we are in.
While a greater number of Nigerians feel disappointed at the situation of things in the country, it is also a wake-up call to all and sundry to contribute their quota in making Nigeria a home for everyone to live in. In Jos for News Central, Chizoba Anyowe.
Now, Nigerians have been urged to be patient amidst the ongoing economic challenges. This comes at a critical time when many Nigerians are grappling with economic difficulties. According to some Nigerians in South Africa, the current government needs the support and collective effort of all for a better Nigeria to seek paths forward.
The advent of the current administration on 29 May 2023, government has taken decisive steps to ameliorate challenges facing our people by introducing pro-poor policies to reduce the impact of the global economic recession. Consequently, in July 2024, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, signed into law a new minimum wage for all Nigerian workers, in addition to the introduction of several social palliatives for all Nigerian citizens to address challenges occasioned by the removal of fuel subsidy. The implementation of the new minimum wage has since taken effect.
The current president is working. This is our 16th month in office. Nigeria is clocking.
Nigerians in South Africa are urging President Bola Tinubu to fix the country's economy as he expressed frustrations, saying that they feel caught in a cycle of hardship and uncertainty. Recently, there has been a growing sentiment among Nigerians living in South Africa, a deep yearning to return home. Many have expressed dissatisfaction with their current circumstances, citing economic struggles, safety concerns, and a desire for better opportunities. In their eyes, the responsibility rests largely on President Tinubu's shoulders. They believe significant policy changes and economic reforms could pave the way for job creation, improved infrastructure, and a more favorable environment for those looking to return.
Nothing good. I can't even say nothing because nothing good is coming out there. Our government is nonsense. They are killing us too much. Yeah, since 1960 till now, nothing good. We are dying there. One bag of rice is how much now? 100,000. What about people that don't have food to buy for them? Petrol, how much? 1,005. Something of 75 rand, 75 naira. Now it's 1,005. That president of us, he wants to kill everybody in that country. He have sell our country, give, I don't know whether it's chincho. He don't have any good thing he can do in Nigeria. It's only to change Nigerian national item. People are dying there. People are dying.
The International Press Center has expressed worry over the non-compliance to freedom of information requests by chief executive officers of government-owned agencies and organizations. The executive director of the center made this known during a visit to the Ministry of Justice in Abuja, where he urged the ministry to engage with the CEOs and find out why the requests are being disregarded despite provisions from the Act mandating compliance.
We stated clearly that we're worried that we still have a number of MDAs, ministries, departments, and agencies of government that do not comply with FOI requests. And this is also based on the annual report that comes from the Office of the Attorney General and the Minister of Justice of the Federation. And that we would like to look at what the problems are, and through this program, the EUSDGN, we can then work together to engage the CEOs, the desk officers, such that in the coming period, we are likely to see improvements at the level of...
Now, no fewer than 150 passengers are feared missing following a boat accident in Mokwa local government area of Niger State. Confirming the incident, the Director General of the Niger State Emergency Management Agency, Alhaji Abdusalai Baba Ara, revealed on Wednesday that rescue efforts were underway to locate more survivors. The ill-fated boat, which was carrying over 300 passengers, mostly women and children, capsized during a Maulud celebration journey on Tuesday. The passengers were said to be traveling from Mundi community to Bajibo community for the Maulud festival when tragedy struck. And now coming up, South Africans renew calls for action to address gun violence crisis. We'll tell you more after the break. Many thanks for staying with us. Now, we turn our attention to a troubling and urgent issue that has gripped South Africa, the rising rate of gun violence. In recent weeks, the nation has been shaken by a string of violent incidents, including the tragic death of 18 individuals at a gathering in the Eastern Cape and the shocking murder of an e-hailing driver in Hillbrow. These incidents have sparked widespread outcry and renewed calls for action to address the ongoing crisis of gun violence in many communities. In light of these harrowing events, questions are being raised about how firearms are accessed and how many are ending up in the wrong hands. South Africa has one of the highest rates of gun-related homicides in the world, and citizens are increasingly worried about their safety. The news continues in Southern Africa, where supermarkets, vendors, commuter omnibus operators, and tuck shops in Zimbabwe are reportedly rejecting payments in the ZIG currency following a 43% devaluation effected by Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe government John Mushayivanu. As a result, traders are now only accepting payments in USD, leaving many Zimbabweans who have previously lost savings due to currency changes in a difficult position. Now, critics argue that Zimbabwean government has effectively rejected its own currency from the start, as a currency cannot be used for essential transactions like passport applications, customs duties, rentals, or fuel purchases. Now, the Zimbabwe currency was introduced in April 2024 at a rate of 13.50 to $1 and was initially promoted as a solution to Zimbabwe's ongoing economic crisis, but it has since seen heavy devaluation on the black market. Now, in East Africa, Kenyan lawmakers have initiated a motion to impeach the deputy president, Rigathi Gachagua. Now, this comes in an unprecedented political move portending an acrimonious fallout within the ruling party. The East African country's politics has been in turmoil since March following deadly protests over a spiraling cost of living crisis and deeply unpopular tax hikes. Gachagua is accused of undermining the government, being involved in corruption, insubordination, practicing ethnically divisive politics, among a few of other charges.
Having examined the notice of the special motion by the member for Kibwezi West, I find that the special motion meets the requirements relating to form and threshold set out in the Articles 145(1) and 151(b) of the Constitution and Standing Order 64(1). I have also satisfied myself that the number of members who have appended their signatures in support of the special motion exceed the minimum threshold of 117 members in this House.
This Honorable House resolves to remove from office, by way of impeachment, His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua, EGH, the current Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, sir, and honorable members, this special motion was lodged with the Clerk of the National Assembly on the 27th September 2024 and contains 11 grounds for impeachment.
Going back now to the discussion on South African gun violence, a national spokesperson of the African Transformation Movement, Zama Jona, now joins us from East London to discuss this further. Thank you so much, Zama, for joining us.
Good day to you and the viewers.
A good day to you too. Thank you for joining us, and it's a pleasure having you join us on the news. Now, Zama, what are the underlying factors contributing to this alarming trend of gun violence in SA?
Thank you so much. Well, for us as the African Transformation Movement, one of the contributing factors that we have observed is the prevalence of unlicensed firearms. It is easy to get in and out of the country with a firearm, and that issue is a major concern because majority of cases when you find these unlicensed firearms, when police are conducting their raids, they would find in most cases that the firearms are not licensed. And that contributes majorly to the challenges that we are faced with. But also acts of criminality. There seems to be truly an upward trend when it comes to people who are committed to life of criminality. And when you look at our murder stats, they're truly alarming. When you look at when this current administration started, the sixth one rather, 2018, 2019, you're looking at about 21,022 murders, which translated to 58 murders a day, 47 men, mostly killed by men. You had 8 women, mostly killed by men, and you had 3 children a day. And since then, since the start of the sixth administration to now, we have now jumped from 58 murders a day to 84 murders a day. And that is equivalent to what may be happening in war-ridden societies, like what is happening with Israel and Palestine right now. You're looking at about 27,500 murders in a single year. And that is truly a challenge that needs to be looked into. So for us as the African Transformation Movement, it is a great concern which needs to be taken care of. And the availability of unlicensed firearms also contribute to this scourge.
Okay, how does this overall rate of civilian gun ownership in South Africa impact public safety? Is that not cause for concern? Are there particular demographics or areas where gun violence is more prevalent than others?
Thank you so much. Well, because of the demographics of the country and also the challenges that we have faced in the past, you'll see that the majority of those who are affected the most would be the Black society. You would know that in South Africa, we have more Black people than any other race that you find in the country. And the prevalence and those who find themselves victims or falling victims to this pandemic would actually be Black people more than any other race in the country. And there is a connection that we have seen and that we have observed, where you see that where there is high rates of unemployment, the prevalence of such actions will go up. Where you see that there is easy access to drugs, you'll see that there will be an upward trajectory, so to speak, to the challenges that we have seen. Where there is contestation that you find for the little that is available, the limited resources, you will find that people are almost scavenging in trying to survive. These are correlated, and you can't alienate the other factor to others. So we believe that as the African Transformation Movement, there is a connection between this country that has now become a welfare state with 61% of its population dependent on grants, and with a youth unemployment that is close to 70%, and the expanded definition of unemployment that is sitting at 54%. But even though that is the case, as the African Transformation Movement, we must state that there is no logical explanation for anyone to decide that they can take a life of another. Even so, when they are going to, after taking a life of another, come out and say, I have a right to life, when they have intentionally taken and limited the right of another. So for us, in the African Transformation Movement, these are the factors at play. These are the demographics that are actually affected the most, and we believe that this must come to an end.
Okay, so I do understand that one of the significant issues is that there is illegal circulation of firearms. But ultimately, what responsibilities do you believe that the South African government has in addressing gun violence? For example, what steps have they taken to limit the circulation or seizing illegal firearms? Are there any successful examples that we can adopt from other countries that South Africa can learn from?
Thank you so much. The biggest flaw of the South African government would have to be the inability to mend the borders. If you can't control what comes in and goes out of your country, you are doomed to fail. If you do not know who is in your country and for what purpose are they in your country, you are doomed to fail. If you have a citizenry that is also accomplice to any illegal activities that happen, you are going to find yourself as a haven of criminals. Unfortunately, South African borders are porous. When you look at those who are mending the borders, you'll see you would go for kilometers none end without anyone who's actually mending the border. So it is easy to ship in arms, drugs, and anything else through South African borders and ports, because the government has been very lax when it comes to actually dealing with those. The other problem is issue of under-resourcing when it comes to the police. But before we go to the boots on ground, the issue of intelligence. Unfortunately, in recent times, the South African government has been exposed heavily when it comes on matters of intelligence. It is reactionary instead of being proactive. It can't predict, and not necessarily predict, intercept. That's the word I'm looking for. It can't intercept activities, and that creates a huge problem, because without any intelligence, you're just like going to war without eyes. Now, if you cannot, you will never be able to deal with the challenges that we're faced with.
All right, Velwa, so thank you so much. That's the much we can take for now. Thank you so much, National Spokesperson of the African Transformative Movement, or Transformation Movement rather, Zaman Shona. Thank you for joining us on the news and sharing your thoughts on gun violence in South Africa.
Thank you so much to you and the viewers.
Still to come, Israel vows to retaliate Iran's attack. We'll tell you more after the break. Now to world wrap, Israel has threatened to retaliate after Iran fired a barrage of missiles at its territory, with Tehran warning it will hit all infrastructure in Israel if it comes under attack. Israel vowed it will make Iran pay after the attack late on Tuesday, which saw most of the missiles intercepted, and pledged to immediately strike the Middle East powerfully. President Joe Biden says the United States was fully supportive of Israel after the missile attack, adding that he will discuss a response with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. It was reported that 200 missiles had been fired at Israel, including hypersonic weapons for the first time, which Revolutionary Guards said had targeted 3 military bases around Tel Aviv and others elsewhere. And in business, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited has once again missed the deadline to begin fuel production at the Port Harcourt refinery in Rivers State, following 6 previous postponements as of August 2024, despite multiple commitments by the Federal Ministry of Petroleum Resources and NNPCL. The refinery remains non-operational. After the August deadline passed, NNPCL Chief Financial Officer Umar Ajia reassured the public that fuel production will start in September 2024, with products undergoing testing before entering the domestic market. However, with September now concluded, non-official update has been provided regarding the refinery status. The repeated delays have led to growing frustration among Nigerians who continue to await the refinery's much-anticipated restart. Still in business, Kenya's economy expanded by 4.6% year-on-year in the second quarter of 2024, a slowdown from the 5.6% growth in the same quarter of the previous year. According to the National Statistics Office, the second quarter 2023 growth rate was revised upward to 5.6% from the previous estimate of 5%. Now, growth in second quarter of 2024 was driven by strong performances in agriculture, forestry and fishing, real estate, financial services, and wholesale and retail sectors. However, the mining, quarrying, and construction sectors contracted. The Kenyan Finance Ministry projects a 5.2% economic growth for the full year 2024, down from 5.6% in 2023. And now moving to sports, world record holder Nigerian hurdle Tobi Amusan has announced an upcoming documentary chronicling her athletic career. This film will explore her journey from early beginnings to major triumphs, highlighting the challenges she faced, including a high-profile drug ban that was later overturned. The announcement marks Amusan's first significant public move in nearly 3 months, as she has stayed out of the spotlight since her disappointing performance at the Paris Olympics, where she failed to qualify for the women's 100-meter hurdles final. Following that setback, she withdrew from key events, including the Diamond League final in Brussels. The documentary is set to release by year's end, providing fans with an exclusive look at the highs and lows of her career. And that's all on the news at this hour. But before we go, let's take another look at some of our major stories. Reactions as October 1st protests recorded low turnout nationwide. We also mentioned South Africans have renewed calls for action to address gun violence crisis. And finally, we told you that Kenyan lawmakers are seeking to impeach the deputy president. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, StarTimes channel 274, Avo TV and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Blessings Mosugu.